Mike Boyle, Strength Conditioning and Movement is Medicine. And I'm here with Tyler today. And today we're gonna go over the cat-camel or cat-cow exercise. We're just gonna call it segmental lumbar flexion and extension to try to make the naming a little bit easier rather than trying to name our exercise after some animals. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have Tyler get down on quadruped. And the purpose of this drill is to start to reestablish motor control of the lumbar spine, and especially at the segments, the lower segments down by the pelvis. Often when you have clients who are coming back from a low back injury or chronic lumbar or sacrum stiffness, they're gonna lack proprioception and motor control through their lumbar spine. They're not gonna have a really good understanding of where they are in space. And as a result from that, they often demonstrate a lot of stiffness and just lack of control in this segment down here. So what we wanna do, typically after some hip mobility work or maybe some manual therapy, is we'll start to have them work on segmental flexion and extension. And what we mean by that is we want them to move one vertebrae at a time, starting at the sacrum and working their way up. Often they're gonna move in big chunks, right? And they'll get all their movement at one segment. And that's typically where they feel a lot of the pain, because all the movement's coming in one place rather than the lumbar spine sharing the load and moving segment by segment by segment. So what we're gonna do here, we wanna make sure the hands are under the shoulders, the knees are under the hips. If their knees are too far forward or too far back, it's gonna throw off the balance and make it hard for them to kind of get control of their pelvis. We wanna make sure they're nice and locked in at the shoulders so there's not a lot of movement going here, because what we're really gonna focus on is just this lumbar to sacral segment here. What I want Tyler to do is pair the movement with his breaths. So if we think about our respiration, we can use breath to create motion or prevent motion, right? If you all took a big breath in the nose right now, you would naturally extend, right? So we can drive some spinal extension with an inhalation. If we all took a big breath out right now, we would naturally flex. So we can drive some spinal flexion with exhalation. So we want to use that to our advantage, especially with people who are struggling with motor control. So as I kind of get behind Tyler here, what I want him to do is as he tucks his pelvis, as he posteriorly tucks his pelvis under and flexes his lumbar spine and his sacrum, I want him to exhale. The cue I'm going to give to him is to think about bringing his belt buckle up towards his belly button. Okay, so like he's gonna tuck that pelvis underneath. Then as he inhales, I want him to actively extend his spine, anteriorly tilt his pelvis, and think about bringing his belly down towards the floor, okay? Now, often clients who are extension dominant with extension-based low back pain will have trouble getting themselves into posterior tilt of the pelvis and into lumbar flexion. So one thing you can do as a therapist is to sometimes give them a little bit of feedback in proprioception. I'll put my hands right at their sacrum, and then say, push your low back and your sacrum into my hand as you go into flexion. Then as he goes down, I'll say, as you inhale, try to pull your back and your pelvis away from my hands. Sometimes just a little bit of feedback in proprioception can kind of give them a better understanding of where they are in space and help them kind of figure out their motor control. So again, push up into my hands. And then inhale, pull away from my hands, right? Often, sometimes you're going to see your clients try to substitute the movement down in their lumbar and sacrum with movement through their upper lumbar and thoracic. So one way you can take that option away from them is just changing the range of motion. So I'm going to have Tyler come down onto his elbows. Now he's in a greater position of hip flexion, and it's going to make him have to just focus on this lower segment, right? Because he's not going to be able to move as well through his upper back. So now we're going to do the same drill. I want you to push your lumbar spine into my hand. Good, exhale. Now inhale, pull away, work on extending. And what I want him to think about is slowly moving one segment at a time. So we're gonna go about 2 times up back and forth here, and I want you to think one segment, now slowly move up, move up, move up, one segment at a time. Try to communicate with each little vertebrae, and now work on extending one vertebrae at a time, working your way through. And what we're doing is we're just establishing a better mind-muscle connection, better motor control in these muscles surrounding the spine, so he has a little bit better motor control and stability going forward. Give this a try, let us know your thoughts, and thanks for watching. We'll see you here next time.